13 parts correspond to different mitzvahs. So the system is that a particular mitzvah that wasn't fulfilled or that was violated, whatever it is, that part of the neshama is affected. And that part is going to have to come back. But the whole neshama as a whole does not. Okay, that's part one. Part two is that there are also places that not the Ramchal himself, but some of the early commentaries on Ramchal write that the concept of a Gilgul doesn't begin at birth. A Gilgul is a neshama or part of a neshama that is added on at Bar Bas Mitzvah. And it's there for as long as it needs to be, and then it leaves. So the stay in the other body for that other life might be very limited, and therefore it seems that the answer to the question is that the body that is used at the time of resurrection and that fusion of the body and soul is the main body that did the majority of the work, and then the little pieces of neshama that had to go visit here and there throughout the millennia to accomplish all their little things, those bodies are insignificant. They're not really there. They don't really fuse in a real significant way, and therefore the neshama is able to stay in the main body that it started in, and that's the one that's resurrected.
So theoretically, we wouldn't have this, because I know I've asked you about this whole there's going to be overcrowding. There's going to be a lot of people here, but not if.
Correct. Meaning it's very possible that our bodies aren't going to come back as we know them.
Right.
No reason to think that they will.
They don't have a soul before that?
What, the bodies?
Do they have a complete soul prior to Bar Mitzvah?
So they have their own, yes, because a Gilgul can only come.
You have double soul for parts of your life?
Right. Or you might have 100.
Wow.
And you won't know. They say this is not known to the owner. You don't know how many pieces you have of others. But again, this is all only. This is all. This is the concept of Ibur.
Okay, this is the Ibur.
Yeah.
Okay.
But again, this only happens at Bar Bas Mitzvah. This doesn't happen at birth. This happens later.
One happening another, or pregnating another.
Adding on, getting an addition. Correct. Yes.
So if we think of this concept as like a mitzvah mosaic, with all these different 613 pieces in each person's mosaic, then we just learned in our 13 principles class that we come back as, say, would be our biggest, the most complete mosaic, where most of
the one where most of the work was done.
Where most of the work was done.
Correct.
And one of the reasons for that, because this will put it in context, is that so we can actually see the nace that happens when people say you recognize the people and they come back as, say, older people. Many people die older. So if they're coming back older and not as like a 20-year-old, you recognize them as they get their neshama. You get their old neshama as it gets joined with the mosaic of the older person. So you could see the miracle of people going from dead to alive, meaning you remember that person dying. I just lost Leon Slotin, for example. It's going to be much more powerful for me to see Leon come back as a 99-year-old and coming back as a 99-year-old with his neshama and then becoming a young person again.
This is what Rabbi Slater said? All right, never heard that before. Very interesting. Very interesting.
Again, this may be off the topic, if it is, we can save it for later. The neshama itself, does it have a consciousness? Like, is there an awareness? And I know the Ari, I've read a lot of different things, and I really don't get a clear answer. Is there a consciousness to our neshama? Meaning, is there an awareness that we're in another dimension, realm, space, outside of space and time, and then are we aware that we've come back? Is there an awareness?
Does the neshama know that?
Does the neshama have?
Yes. Yes.
So is there
but
the
person does not. But the person does not. Now there is such thing as people who are on extremely high levels being able to be in touch with their neshama, so to speak, and to be able to sense that they have a Gilgul from someone else within them. There have been some very great people who have said, I'm a Gilgul of so-and-so, right? Which doesn't mean that their whole neshama is that other person,
Right.
but it means that part of their neshama came from someone else that needed a rectification.
Okay, very good.
So, for example, we had the Asar Urugim Malchus we just read about on Tisha B'Av. The 10 martyrs who were all killed, and our sages tell us they were killed in order to atone for the 10 brothers who sold Yosef, right? Which means that each of them had a piece of the neshama of one of the Shvatim. A couple thousand years later, you have people who have a little piece of it.
Saying that, now you're saying that that person, let's say you're not taking somebody who the Torah testified. So let's say you're taking somebody, a gadol from a previous generation.
Uh-huh.
You say, I have part of his soul. Let's say you knew that you had part of that soul.
Okay.
Then you're saying that that person needed fixing.
Oh, okay, good point. The answer to that is that no. The Ramchal just mentioned over here there are two reasons for a Gilgul. The one reason for a Gilgul is to repair, and the other reason for the Gilgul is to complete. So there are times where a person in their lifetime doesn't have the opportunity to do all of the things that they can do to accomplish the most possible. And it takes multiple lifetimes in order to do that. So to say that I have a Gilgul of somebody great means that I'm picking up where they left off. So it's not anything negative about them at all. And on the contrary, I saw one of the sources say, again, this is one of the early commentaries on Ramchal. He says that when the pasuk says that Hashem carries on the merits for 2,000 generations of the righteous, and of the wicked it's for 4 generations, he understands that to be in the realm of Gilgul, meaning that a righteous person, Hashem will use that neshama over and over and over again to bring more righteousness into the world as many times as possible, to allow it to grow more and more and more and more and more. So you could have the neshama of Moshe Rabbeinu being put in, or pieces of it being put into the leader of every single generation for the next 1,000, 2,000 generations, in order to give that soul more opportunity to grow even greater than it is. But for the wicked, it only goes 4 times, so that if it's going down, it'll have a bottom. It won't continue getting worse and worse and worse.
One quick question, and then I'll leave this alone.
Yeah, you will, because we're leaving.
If the neshama can be broken up into pieces, and we say the neshama is a chelik of the Ein Sof, infinity, how can a piece of infinity be broken up into pieces?
Okay, so the idea is like this: every part of the neshama is every neshama is a piece of Hashem. Now, Yisrael v'Araisu Kuchabrichu Chadu. Hashem, the Jewish people, primarily referring to their neshamas, and the Torah are all one. Okay, which means that Hashem's wisdom, which is Him, they are one and the same, is written in the Torah. So it manifested itself in a physical way, so to speak, in the Torah itself. Now that is the creation of the world.
The universe.
Okay, everything, yes, right. Everything is a manifestation of the Torah itself, which is Hashem Himself. Now, if Hashem is going to take Himself and insert Himself into Himself, right, and neshama being inserted into the world, which is from the Torah. So what's happening is that there's a connection between this part of Hashem and this part of the wisdom, which are essentially, they start in the same place, right? Because the mitzvah, let's take a mitzvah. The mitzvah number 12, okay? So mitzvah number 12 is a part of Hashem's wisdom. Hashem's wisdom is that there need to be these 613 mitzvahs. So mitzvah number 12 is really a part of Hashem, because the mitzvahs are Hashem's wisdom, right? So that means that every neshama is composed of, or comprised of, 613 pieces, which comprise all of the mitzvahs, which is all of the wisdom, right? So that means that every neshama has components that it connects to within that bigger picture of the wisdom of Hashem, which is the Torah. So it's not taking away pieces, it's just that every part of the neshama connects to a different part, and it's the source of that part.
Wow, but it's still
So it's all interconnected.
It's interconnected in an infinite way.
Yeah, because it goes back and forth.
Right.
Because the Torah is the source, but the neshama is the source of the Torah, because it's a part of Hashem. So it goes in circles.
Right. I'm anthropomorphizing it. That's the problem. If I'm trying to see
Yeah.
something
Yeah. This is
finite.
don't think
Very,
physical.
very
Nothing physical about it.
So they're the same block.
Hmm?
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're
it's the same
the same.
mosaic type of thing.
Oh.
That's what it is.
Every neshama is made up of the whole Torah.
So it's a microcosm?
No, because it's also the source of the Torah. Because Hashem's wisdom is the Torah, and the neshama is a part of Hashem.
So it really
It
is.
goes both
just
ways.
is.
Right. It's all one and the same.
It is
Yisrael,
one.
B'Ra'at HaKudah Chadu.
It
Klal
is.
Yisrael, the Torah, and Hashem are all one. So in a way, it's all just circle of the same thing.
Got it.
So what happens if you do one mitzvah and then you don't do it? I mean, what happens? I mean,
If you
how
don't do a
can you-
mitzvah,
Yeah.
so if that part of the neshama needs rectifying because that mitzvah wasn't done, there's an opportunity for another. Sometimes there's an opportunity for that neshama to come apart. That part of the neshama to come back into another life and live again and try to do it a second time.
So how easy it is for a person as soul to complete all 613 mitzvahs?
It might take
And how
many
do we know?
times. It might take many times. But for example, the Torah says, we just read it on Tisha B'Av, that when, who was it? Chutzpah? I don't remember. One of the 10 martyrs was killed. So a heavenly voice came out and said that this praiseworthy is this soul because there was no part of the Torah that it didn't keep. Fulfilled all the Torah. So yeah, the great people were able to accomplish it all in a single lifetime. But most of us, probably not. Most of us probably need to spend a couple of tries until we get it all done. Try not to ruin it in the process, huh? Okay, all right. There's more to say, but there isn't more time to say it. So, I will not be here next week. I'll be in Lakewood, Derech Hashem. But the following week we'll be back on.
Okay.
All right? All right. Have a wonderful day, a week, 2 weeks, and we'll see you all later.
So wait, when are you coming back?
Sometime in the middle of next week. Probably Monday or Tuesday.
Should I paint while you guys are gone?
Whatever suits your fancy. Lynn, thanks for coming.
I need to figure out what
Are you still here? Did we lose you? I don't even know if we lost you. I don't know anything about your phone. I don't think you do either. All right.